We all want love, but most of us don't want to date to get it. Because let's be honest, dating kind of sucks. But maybe it doesn't have to if we actually know what we're doing. Hi, I'm Sabin, and this is Reinventing Dating, a smart and sweary podcast for all singles to learn the mindsets and skills to date with intention and confidence. Join me weekly as I break down the science and psychology behind what's working in our dating culture and what isn't. Every week, I bring a new topic, trend, skill, or mindset that can help us get out of our own way to learn how to date for relationships that we actually want. Because love isn't broken, but dating kinda is. But I'm reinventing it. Let's do this. Well, hello there, sugar pantses. I'm so excited you're here. We are at our final Foundations episode, and this one is a real doozy. I will tell you this. We've talked about what is love so that we know what we're looking for and how to get it. We've talked about the history of dating and relationships and how we got to believe what the dating culture is right now and looking at if it's helping us. We talked about the growth mindset and how it can be an absolute game changer as we're dating and looking for relationships and just life in general. And finally, we learned about the 5 stages of relationships so that we have some ideas of what's coming up and we are not shocked / over it by the time the power struggle phase shows up. Today is one of the best topics that you can learn for self-knowledge and how you work. I love this topic. To me, in all that I've been teaching over the last 15 years, this is the biggest game changer for self-knowledge. Not necessarily skill or mindset, but for self-knowledge. Because today we're talking about attachment styles. Now, the first time I heard about attachment styles was probably around 2012 or 13. I was already a few years into this business. I wasn't talking that much about dating at that point, but the book Attached came out by, I believe it's Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. And that kind of created a shockwave among like the dating, love, and relationship industry. And it didn't take me long to finish it and delve into this and realize, holy shit, is this interesting? It explains so much of my own behavior. It explained a ton of behavior a year later when I met Danny. It explained so much of what my clients were doing, but yet couldn't understand why they were doing it. And today, I want to bring this information to you, make it fun, keep it basic, but give you the information to start looking at how your attachment style is affecting your life, particularly your dating and relationships, and what we can do about it. Yeah? Doesn't that sound great? I'm so excited! So, one quick disclaimer before we dive deep in. I'm going to be talking about your childhood a little bit, and today is not about blaming your parents or caretakers. And if you're a parent, this is not about blaming yourself. When many of us were raised, there was a lot of contradictory information on parenting, and they did the best that they could. So use today as a way to get curious on what did happen so you can see how it's affecting you, your dating, and your relationships now. So I'm going to start with a little who here has believed one of the following? And these are things that I was taught or that I believed. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and this is just, to me, what I was taught about love. So who here has believed one of the following? That others, especially men, need the chase to be or stay interested. I definitely learned that, for sure. That it's important, especially for women, to be breezy, easygoing, or the cool girl. Nothing bothers us. We're cool. We're breezy. We're good with it. Whatever. We're fine. When inside we're hyperventilating. Next, who believed that whomever cares the least in the relationship wins? Isn't that fucked up? But that's what I was taught. Don't care or love the other person more because you're the one who's going to get screwed. Or whomever cares or loves the least has all the power. These are all fucked up ideas that were underlying taught to me. As a woman, it was my job to be breezy and cool, act like it wasn't a big deal, even if I really, really liked somebody. And that I didn't want to be too much, too open, too available to anything, or otherwise I wasn't making it hard enough for them to chase me, which because somehow we equated somebody chasing us with love. What the fuck? What the fuck is that about? What the actual fuck? And for many, many years, we've assigned these qualities or these characteristics to gender. That women are more needy and clingy than men. That women are more emotional than men. That women want love and relationships more than men. That women need to change themselves into an acceptable form emotionally and physically for men to choose us. And that women need to trap, chase, get, and keep the guy. That we're supposed to do all of these weird, wily things to be mysterious and keep guys interested. First of all, that's fucking exhausting. I have a life. I've got friends, I've got family, I've got animals, all of these things. And I, of course, have Danny, my husband at this point. But at the time, it's not like I had nothing better to do than to figure out how to get a guy to like me. And I do want to just read you guys a couple of book titles that I found on Amazon. And I'm just going to say this right now. I literally put in, I think, dating advice for women. And these are the ones that came up right away. I didn't even have to dig hard for this shit. So this is what women in our society, and guys, if you're listening to this is important too, are being taught to think. Number 1, act like a lady, but think like a man. Once again, being told that who you are and how you do things is wrong. Become a femme fatale. Secrets. To boast your seduction and become irresistible. What is up with the deal about women needing to be irresistible? What does that mean? And why do we think that if we're irresistible, that we're going to get into a healthy relationship that lasts forever? I don't think so. Next, ready? Red flags. How to know he's playing games with you. How to spot a guy who's never going to commit. How to force him to show his card. The truth about his weird behavior, fear of commitment, and sudden loss of interest. What the actual fuck on these? Guys, I'm not done. Nowhere near. Next. You guys have probably heard of this one. Why men love bitches. You better change. Fuck no, if you're a nice girl. Don't do that, because men love bitches. From doormat to dream girl. A woman's guide to holding her own in a relationship. Now, I will tell you, I've never read When Men Love Bitches. I'm sure it's more about boundaries or whatever, but just to once again, these are the titles. These are the things that women are looking at, being told every fucking day that they have to change who they are, that they have to act a different way to actually get and keep love. Here's another one. Never chase men again. 38 guys, 38 dating secrets to get the guy, keep him interested, and prevent dead end relationships. Ooh, now we all know this one, and I can't believe at the time, I was in my 20s when this book came out, and even at that time I was like, this seems manipulative. This seems shitty, and it doesn't feel very good. And so you'll probably recognize it too. It's The Rules. Time-tested secrets for capturing the heart of Mr. Right. Okay, I guess we're capturing hearts now. I don't know if we're like taking that out, like Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, and we hold it for a while, or what's going on there. But I guess we're capturing it. Yeah, that book was bullshit, because anything that's telling us that we have to change ourselves, that we need to act a certain way, that we need to send a certain text, that we need to dress a certain way to get people interested in you is unhealthy and unhelpful. Next one. If men are dogs, this is animal control. It's the power of the pussy. That's right. How to get what you want from men, love, respect, commitment, and more. Using the power of the pussy. And of course, there's a cat on there. What? Next one. Fuck him. Nice girls always finish single. A guide for sassy women who want to get back in control of their love life. Ooh, I'm almost done, guys. I'm almost done. Men don't love women like you. Okay. Ouch. All right. GL Lambert. And next, to date a man, you must understand a man. The keys to catch a great guy. And there's a key on there, the cover, by the way. Here's what you're going to learn about me very quickly, because the Foundation series could probably be 75 episodes. And one of the things that I truly believe and I dislike immensely about the dating culture is how much we speak in genders. Women do this and men do that, and women are this way and men are that way. Like we're one big fucking hive mind. I am a 50-year-old woman. I now know who I am and how I work, and I can guarantee you, just from friends I've had over the years, clients I've had, every single woman I know is different. It's not that we don't like similar things sometimes, but we're all different and all men are different. And I am never going to tell you or sell you some idea that because I'm a woman, I know what women think. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. And on the other side of that, I don't mean to be rude to the coaches who do this, but anybody who says, I know what men think. So first of all, how hetero is that? Whatever. But we can't know what all men think. And all of this is just kind of these simple ways that we're trying to hack the system and it's not working. We don't want to have to uncomfortable conversations. We don't want to have to ask tough questions. So we're just like, if you tell me about men, then I'll know about men and then I'll be able to be with a man. That's nuts. You know as well as I do that guys are not the same. People are not the same. Like we are all made up of different characteristics and personalities and experiences and different birth order and different, just a ton of different shit that makes anything that's directed specifically at women or at men absolutely obsolete. We won't even get the whole stepping into your divine feminine, divine masculine bullshit. Why don't you just be you? Why don't you just get to be you and then look if any of your mindsets or behaviors are keeping you away from connecting with good people? That's all we're doing here. And here's the bullshit that we learned about men, that men are cold and distant, that men don't feel or have as many emotions as much as women, that men want love and relationships less than women, or that men are scared little bunnies who don't know they need us and need to be trapped and domesticated and it's our job to make it happen. I cannot believe the way we talk about men in our world. Like that I've got to do this and that. I don't want to scare them away. Listen, if they are scared away that easily and quickly, they probably really weren't ready to be in a relationship. Seriously. Can we stop talking about that? Now, when I mention men or women, here is the lens or perspective that I am using. The way that we treat and talk to women in our culture, or the way we treat and talk to men in our culture. And that can sometimes look like toxic, masculinity or toxic femininity, by the way. That is a thing for sure. But I talk about it as this is how we treat women, not this is who women are. There's a difference there. So forever we've been saying men are like this, right? I can guarantee you this. If you peered into Danny and my relationship, we break molds all over the place. I'm the one who was super into sci-fi and fantasy and action movies. I was the one who got him into Marvel. He loves to cook. He does the majority of cooking in this house. The thing is that we are all different people with different likes, different passions, once again, different experiences, different upbringings. Our job is to get to know the person that we care about, not just make assumptions. And those assumptions keep us single. Now, this is also where we got the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but it isn't really true because not all genders think, act like all other people in their gender. And that's why it's also bullshit that men can't speak for men and know what men are thinking. And while you'll never see me do that, because none of the stuff that I'm talking about today is about genders, and you're going to hear stuff and you're going to think, oh, that's women. But nope, that's an attachment style, because it's all about attachment style. Now, very quickly, just the boring shit that's important. What is attachment theory? What is attachment style? Attachment styles refer to the particular way in which an individual relates to other people. That's it. It's who we connect with, who we don't. It's how we relate to other people. So, a little bit of the science. According to attachment theory, first developed by psychiatrist John Bowlby in the 50s, 60s, Mary Ainsworth more in the 70s. And they discovered that a person's attachment style is shaped and developed in early childhood in response to the relationship with their earliest caregivers. So essentially, our adult attachment style is thought to mirror the dynamics we had with our caregivers as infant and children. So that's not even the first 5 years or first 10 years. It's actually the first 12 to 18 months. What your attachment style is has everything to do with that very short time, and your parents didn't really know better. So a couple more facts about attachment styles. The social and emotional responses of the primary caregiver, it's usually going to be a parent, provide the infant with information about the world and other people, and also how they view themselves as individuals. For example, the extent to which an individual perceives himself or herself as being worthy of love and care, and information regarding the availability and reliability of others. So attachment styles are how we see ourselves in this world and how we view other people in this world. And romantic relationships are likely to reflect the early attachment style because the experience a person has with their caregiver in childhood would lead to the expectation of the same experiences in later relationship, such as parents, friends, and romantic partners. And attachment styles really break down to two feelings relating to both the self. The number one is, am I worthy of love in others? And go ahead and stop this for a moment and ask yourself that question. Do I feel worthy of love in others? And if you don't, that's something we might need to work on. And then the second thing is, can I depend on others during times of stress? What did you learn? Did you learn that if you were upset, if you were worried, if you were anxious, if you were panicking, that you could depend on other people? Or did you learn that you couldn't? And what you learned from those two things are going to point to what your attachment style is. So let's meet the attachment styles. Okay? I'm going to quickly tell you about the 4 attachment styles, and then I'm going to break them down a little bit more. So there are 4 attachment styles. For a long time, there was only 3, but they did bring in a 4th not too long ago. Now, only one of the attachment style is considered healthy, is the place you want to get to. And that is the secure attachment style. Now, the secure attachment style is like this. They can trust fairly easily. They're attuned to their emotions. They can communicate their upsets directly. And they lead with cooperative and flexible behavior in relationships. I know, that's really boring stuff. But they can, I like to say it this way, they're comfortable giving and receiving love. Now, the second attachment style that I'm going to talk about is my attachment style, and that is the anxious attachment style. And due to the way that women are taught in our society, about 80% of women are in the anxious attachment style. So what you're going to hear here, I think, is that these are qualities that we a lot of times just put on women that may or may not be true at all. So the very short, and like I said, I'm gonna break these down a little bit bigger. has a sensitive nervous system, struggles communicating needs directly, tends to act out when triggered, makes the partner jealous. And the short version is constantly worried that they're going to be left. They're constantly changing their behavior or nervous about their partner leaving or not loving them anymore. That's the anxious attachment style. Raise your hand in the air like you just don't care if that's you, because that's me. Now, next we have the third attachment style, and that is the avoidant dismissive attachment style. Okay, because there's two avoidants. So avoidant dismissive, and this is going to be about 80% of men. Now, they downplay the importance of relationships. They're usually very extremely self-reliant and independent. And really, they only become more vulnerable when there's a big crisis. They also have a very hard time letting people in. Now, the fourth attachment style is called avoidant fearful, and you might have also heard this called disorganized. So they're more dependent in relationships than the avoidant, but they strongly fear rejection. They tend to have low self-esteem and low self-worth, and they have very high anxiety in relationships. And how I like to describe it is that avoidance running away from love, anxious are running to love, and when you are disorganized, both are playing. So what that means is that when you like somebody, you're running after them a little bit. But as soon as they decide that they like you back, then you're like, no, okay, no. What about if they start to like somebody else or they leave? Wait, oh, no, I'm back into it. Anybody here disorganized or ever date somebody disorganized? Like I said, I am going to break these down a lot better, but those are just the four. So the one that we're always trying to work towards is secure. And I am sure, supposedly according to psychologists, that there are secure people out there. This is what I know. And clearly I'm working with people who are single or who are wanting some help in their love and relationships. But I rarely meet secure people. I find that people become secure when they create a secure relationship. So now I am naturally anxious. Danny is naturally avoidant. By the way, they're naturally attracted to each other, which is fucked up. But through time, healing, communication, safety, because we have a lot of safety in this relationship, in a way that I never had safety, by the way, guys, we have created a very secure relationship. And now we are both secure in it. We're never waiting for the shoe to drop. I don't question him cheating on me or this ending. We both know that we are there for each other at all times. And that if for some reason we can't be, we will set a boundary, we will explain, but that we are in this together. Everybody's committed. Nobody is 1 foot out the door, and we are safe and secure. I see secure mostly happening when people have built that into the relationship. I know that once I start teaching this, people are like, well, where's all the secure guys? Huh? We're all secure people. And I'm like, no. We create this. That's part of that growth mindset we learned about last week. We don't find perfect people. We create imperfect relationships that work. Okay, so I'm going to dive a little bit more into the anxious preoccupied attachment because I'm going to break just all of these down quite a bit. So the anxious attachment style is a type of insecure attachment, because like I said, the only one that's considered healthier is secure attachment. So the anxious attachment style is a type of insecure attachment style marked by a deep fear of abandonment. People with an anxious attachment style tend to be very insecure about their relationships. They're often worrying that their partner will leave them and thus are always hungry for validation. Anxious attachment is associated with neediness or clingy behavior in relationships, such as getting very anxious when your partner doesn't text back fast enough and constantly feeling like your partner doesn't care enough about you. And due to society, many women identify as anxious preoccupied, right? Like I said, that just because of how we were raised with a scarcity mindset, with how you look has to be perfect. And now we have social media telling us how we're supposed to look and be and buy and whatever. So here are ways that the anxious attachment can show up. So calling or texting your partner repeatedly until they respond, frequently checking social media for information about them and what they're doing, feeling suspicious when everything is calm, going along with whatever others want to do even if you don't feel like it so you don't rock the boat, having a hard time to saying no to people in your life even when you know or feel like you should, repeatedly asking your partner if they find you attractive, if everything's okay, if they are still interested, trying to avoid breaking up by all means even when the relationship isn't healthy, waiting to text back to get back at someone who upset you, or flirting or reaching out to others to make people jealous when they're not doing exactly what you want at the timeline that you are expecting. Now, post-breakup, anxious people are likely to blame their perceived imperfections for the end of the relationship instead of realizing that it just wasn't a good fit. So, you're probably not needy or clingy. You are just the anxious attachment style, and you can learn to work with that. Absolutely and completely. Now, I love to talk a little bit about where we might see anxious or any of the attachment styles in TV or movies, particularly TV, because we see a character over a long time. And I want to say, as I mentioned these are written characters, right? These are fictional characters. So it's not always going to be consistent. I doubt that when people are writing different characters, they're like, we should make this person anxious and do that for the next 7 seasons. So no, it's not always going to be perfect, but it's a helper. It's just a helpful way to think about it. So even though I mentioned that a lot of times anxious are women, today I'm talking about Ross from Friends. He is a classic anxious attacher. He is so insecure about his relationship with Rachel that he's completely over the top. For example, sending the barbershop quartet to her office and then showing up with a picnic because she was working late. And remember how jealous Ross was of Rachel's colleague Mark and how he immediately, after she said needed a break, he sought validation from the Xerox girl. All classic signs of anxious attachment. Here are some other anxious attachers in film and TV. Charlotte from Sex and the City. Tom from 500 Days of Summer. That was actually one of the first times also that we saw the characters kind of opposite. So Summer was avoidant and Tom was anxious. Rachel from Glee, Bridget Jones, Leslie and Anne from Parks and Rec, Woody from Toy Story, Noah from The Notebook, Rue and Jules from Euphoria, Chidi from The Good Place. All of these people are anxious attachment. So next we're going to go into avoidant attachment. So avoidant attachment is a type of insecure attachment style marked by a fear of intimacy. People with an avoidant attachment style tend to have trouble getting close to others or trusting others in relationships because they ultimately don't believe their needs can get met in a relationship. Now, in relationships, avoidant people typically maintain some distance from their partners or are largely emotionally unavailable. They may find relationships suffocating and avoid them completely, preferring to be independent and rely on themselves. Now, due to society, once again, the majority of men are avoidant. Why? Now think about it. Because we've told men to not have close friendships. We've told men to not lean on each other. We've told men to not express their emotions. We've told men to not connect, that is vulnerable or that is weak. And because of that, most of them are avoidant. So how does it show up? They keep distance from others. They push others away when they get close to or show a desire for closeness. They lack emotional closeness in relationships, fear of intimacy, difficulty trusting others and opening up, unlikely to seek help in stressful situations, trouble expressing their emotion, a history of short flings. They like spending time together, but they don't want to talk about what it means. They seem uncomfortable when you express negative emotions about them. They tend to use distancing strategies when their partners or the relationships are distressed. They're not dialed into your emotions and communication is difficult. And they may find the smallest reasons to pull away from a romantic relationship. For example, oh, they don't like white wine? Oh, I guess we're not meant to be. That's right. It's not that avoidants don't need affection or intimacy. They're just masters at suppressing their feelings and being independent. They've convinced themselves that love and relationships are not that important. Who here identifies with avoidant or knows you have dated an avoidant or two in the past? Probably quite a few. I want to hear from you. Email me, Kira@reinventingdating.com. So just to mix this up, I actually avoidant. And by the way, I got this from an article. I will happily share that article. Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. I'm a big Gilmore Girls fan. And she's a classic avoidant attacher. So she keeps Jason a secret from her parents because she doesn't want them involved, but really because she wants to keep him at arm's length. She breaks up with Max by literally running away from their wedding. I loved Max. She pushes Luke away constantly, eventually convincing herself it's not right because he won't marry her on the spot with 5 seconds notice. So it's not that they don't want love. It's just that they don't trust others are truly going to give it. So who are some other avoidant attachers in film and TV? Samantha and Miranda and Mr. Big from Sex and the City. Summer from 500 Days of Summer. Iron Man. Chuck Bass from Gossip Girl. Don Draper from Mad Men. Bones from Bones. Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. And Eleanor from The Good Place. So the fucked up thing, as I mentioned briefly before, is that anxious are naturally attracted to avoidance, and avoidants are naturally attracted to anxious. Welcome to the fucking power struggle. So the next insecure attachment style is disorganized. And it's another avoidant, but it's fearful avoidant. It's a combination of the anxious and avoidant attachment styles. People with this attachment style often crave intimacy and can be quite clingy, but as soon as someone gets close, they attempt to run away. This type of attachment often comes with a self-destruct button, i.e., getting close to someone and building a relationship, then sabotaging it because the intimacy feels uncomfortable. They're reluctant to develop a close romantic relationship. At the same time, they feel a dire need to feel loved by others. So how does it show up? They often choose partners who confirm their belief that the world or people are unsafe. Romantic relationships are frightening, not just scary, but you might actually feel fright. You might feel confused about romantic relationships. You have a hard time not being in a relationship. You and your partner kind of take advantage of each other. You feel trusting your partner is dangerous. And you are always taking care of your partner and not thinking about your own needs. You may be afraid to alert boundaries for fear that you will lose them. You might be in a relationship with a partner who emotionally, physically, or sexually assaults you, but you feel a deep pull to stay and fear about leaving. Or maybe you're in a relationship filled with a lot of friction and fighting, and this feels normal to you. So in relationships where you don't fight and generally don't feel an undercurrent of fear for your partner, you might experience that relationship as boring and anxiety producing. For disorganized, Carrie from Sex and the City, she desperately craved male attention, having a never-ending stream of boyfriends, but as soon as the relationship got comfortable, she pushed them away. Look at Aiden. I am team Aiden all day, every day. Not young Kira, but this Kira is. He proposed, and once she had the reassurance that he loved her, she refused to wear the ring and cheated on him. Even Mr. Big, she chased him for years, constantly pining for him, turning herself inside out to please him. And then as soon as they're engaged and she's comfortable, she's throwing a wedding that he's explicitly said he's not interested in. And then she leaves to Mexico with her friends saying, "Oh no, it's all my fault." So she's playing both the anxious and the avoidant there. So a few other disorganized attachers in film and TV, and this is going to be not as popular or common just because it's a newer attachment style. I don't think that people have really been waiting for it. George in Seinfeld, Will in Good Will Hunting, Liz Lemon from 30 Rock, and then somebody pulled out Andy from Pretty in Pink. Now our final attachment style is the secure attachment style. And as I mentioned earlier, this is something that I think we work towards. I believe with the growth mindset and all that I know about relationships, that anything that you see people have that's good, that's steady, that's romantic, whatever, all the good things that happen in a relationship, they are creating that. They did not find it. They are creating it. And I think that when we can get into that mindset, things shift for us. So you want to be working with your partner to a secure attachment style. And I'll tell you, just the other day, somebody commented on my Instagram, Do you think it's possible for somebody who's extremely anxious to heal and be in a good relationship? And I will tell you this from the bottom of my heart, I am 100% living proof. I was anxious as fuck. I had to really, really work hard the first 6 months of this relationship to deal with my emotions coming up, deal with my fear that's coming up, learn how to self-soothe, learn better coping mechanisms and coping skills, because I was kind of a wreck, because love felt that scary to me. That's just the truth. But through time, through both of us continuing to show up and have the tough conversations and working through things, we built something that's super safe and secure. So the secure attachment style refers to the ability to form secure, loving relationships with others. A person with a secure attachment style is able to trust others and be trusted, love and accept love, and become close to others with relative ease. They're not afraid of intimacy, nor do they feel panicked when their partners need time or space away from them. They're able to depend on others without becoming totally dependent. Secure attachment is considered the healthy ideal for relationships. All other attachment styles that are not secure are known as insecure attachment styles. So, what do you notice in somebody to see if they lean towards a secure attachment style? I mean, supposedly they do exist out there. So I think that you can date the opposite of you and still work through it together like I did. But hey, let's look for them. Easily trusts others in a healthy way, effective communication skills, ability to seek emotional support, comfortable being alone, comfortable in close relationships, ability to self-reflect in partnerships, able to connect easily with, able to manage conflict, has good self-worth, and is able to be emotionally available. And the example for secure that I have is Rebecca Pearson in This Is Us, so Mandy Moore's character. She's comfortable in a relationship with Jack and her children. She holds space for her children's emotions without projecting her own. Even when her children are adults, she shows up for them and has no problem having the hard talks. And when her granddaughter Tess came out in season 3, and she tells how holding her emotions in her body can cause pain from her own experience, it's all very calm and open. So here's some other, and I'm going to do relationships, other secure attachers in film and TV. So the Taylors on Friday Night Lights, I know everybody loves them. Randall and Beth on This Is Us. Steph and Lena on The Fosters. Rainbow and Dre on Blackish. David and Patrick on Schitt's Creek. Bert and Virginia on Raising Hope. And then Glenn and Maggie on The Walking Dead. It all went downhill for me when Glenn died. I'm just going to say it. So not many of us are naturally secure or insecure in all parts of our lives, but we can through healing, awareness, and a solid relationship. How does a secure relationship look and feel? You're a team. Danny is my teammate in life. He is my partner in this thing we're doing. You can count on them emotionally, mentally, and physically. You feel safe around them and they feel safe around you. You feel comfortable being emotionally available and vulnerable with them. You trust them. They feel like home. Danny is my home now. So Danny's the first time I've actually felt safe in a relationship. And I'm so thankful for that. 20-something Kira would have thought that was boring. 50-year-old Kira is fuck yes, may I have another. That's what I have to say. So, how secure relationships feel? They feel safe. Both partners feel comfortable and taken care of. You have empathy for each other. You calm each other, knowing what your partner needs to relax. You're understanding your partner's good intentions and their actions. You repair hurts, saying I'm sorry when misunderstandings happen. And you enjoy each other's company. So why does all of this matter? Because knowing your attachment style and recognizing your partners is important while dating and creating relationships. It might help you recognize why you or your partner might be pushing or pulling away. Knowing your attachment style allows you to recognize your behavior and change it before one of you sabotages the relationship. Now, a really simple way to think about this that I say to my clients is anxious tend to want to run ahead. because we're so nervous, because we can't sit with our uncomfortable feelings, that's a big part of being anxious. We want to lock that down. We want to know where we're at all times. We don't want to, quote unquote, waste our time. We are wanting to know the answers right away. And here's the deal. That's why anxious get themselves into relationships a lot of times too quickly. They aren't noticing the things they should notice. And then they are attached to somebody who they probably shouldn't be attached to. So if we can slow our roll down, truly take our time getting to know somebody, really see them for who we are, we're going to have much better results. So if the anxious want to run ahead, the avoidants are staying behind. They're the slow pokes, right? They're dragging their feet a little bit. They're nervous. But once again, if the anxious can slow down and meet the avoidants where they're at the pace that they're at, within reason, guys, within reason. We're not waiting a year here for somebody to fucking figure it out. And if we can get the avoidants to trust, to know that you're safe, then they're going to meet you halfway. That's our whole goal here. So what's your attachment style? Do you know? I'm going to recommend, and I'll have a link in my information where you listen to the podcast for my favorite attachment style quiz. It's absolutely free. It's from the Attachment Project. It's a couple of minutes long, but they give very good information. And in fact, when I work with my clients, that's the quiz I send them to do so that I can then look at it and we can talk things out. So what's your attachment style and how have you seen it come up? How have you seen it possibly sabotage you? All right, guys, that is our final foundations episode, attachment styles. So now you know the different attachment styles, what to watch out for, what you're kind of working towards. And next week starts a new series about online dating and why I think it's killing love, because I think it is. And I'm fucking taking love back for all of us. So you don't want to miss it. If you liked this, if you loved it, please make sure you subscribe. Come check out reinventingdating.com. It's up. There is now day-long intensives. There's going to be some group intensives coming up. So we are all reinventing dating together, because when we know what love is, when we know our mindsets, when we understand how we work, we understand the skills, we can get in better relationships, period. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Until then, don't forget to meet love halfway.